thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been a very busy trip for you here in Washington. So you spoke to President Trump for more than an hour. Tell us about that meeting. How did it go?
He was very gracious to accept the meeting in very short order. We extended an open hand. I've said this often, not a closed fist, and reestablished a partnership and relationship to this fire, to the emergency that's still at hand as it relates to toxic materials that need to be cleaned up, to debris removal, to people, thousands and thousands of families whose lives have been torn asunder. And so it was incredibly productive.
Did you get any commitments from him for aid?
Broad strokes, not specific commitments, but broad strokes. And I have just all the confidence in the world that it's going to be a strong partnership moving forward. Look, cameras have moved on. And the devastation now is truly being absorbed. It's remarkable. As you said, it's just been a month. And people are just coming to grips with the trauma of their lives being completely destroyed, memories, memorabilia, generational homes. And so we're trying to do everything we can to distill a sense of well-being. And it's critical that the relationship between the President of the United States and the state of California remain strong and firm in our resolve to fix this.
And we will continue to cover the wildfires and the aftermath and everything on this show. I can assure you of that. You have also been on the Hill meeting with lawmakers. President Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson suggested that conditions should be attached to any wildfire aid for California, with Johnson claiming state and local leaders were derelict in their duties. Was that discussed during your meetings, and where does that stand, if so, with getting aid in exchange for conditions being met?
It wasn't discussed, and I hope we can move beyond that. Look, I understand the foundational conditions. I think that exists with most things that Congress does in the relationship between states. The states' relationships with cities, there's conditions attached. But some of the conditions that were being bandied about just seem to be, for me, a little bit of noise, a little bit political. At the end of the day, we're all in this together. The president was at a prayer breakfast this morning. I remember Father Cause telling me, we're many parts, but one body. When one part suffers, we all suffer. This notion that we're all in this together. We're in there to take care of the folks in Louisiana, in the Speaker's District. We're here for the folks in North Carolina, Californians, that is, Georgia. People have been impacted by disasters and emergency. And the American spirit is to lend a hand and provide that support. And I expect that will happen for California.
As you know, that President Trump has pressed for California requiring voter ID and changing to the water system. Did that come up with your meeting with him?
We talked about both, yeah.
You talked about both, and did you say you would?
We've been in an ongoing conversation for over, I feel like I told the president when he was on the tarmac last week in Los Angeles, I said, we're picking up on the last conversation we had around water 4.5 years prior. So I will say this, he's very focused on that issue. He certainly targeted some of that in terms of some of the actions he took by executive order.
2 billion gallons of water.
And so we had and that's why it was an extended conversation. I didn't even know people knew how long the conversation was, but it was an extended conversation. And so it was spirited. And look, and it's exactly.
Spirited how so? Bring us into that.
Because we were just, it was an engaging conversation. You know what it was? It was a two-way conversation. And that's what it should be. I mean, just different points of view, expressing a different understanding of the nuances on the ground, but an appreciation to get something done. Did
you tell them the 2 billion gallons of water didn't help with the wildfire recovery?
I think it's been well covered.
Okay.
Understood. But, look, I kept going back. It wasn't about focusing on the disagreements. It was about focusing on what we have in common. And what we have in common is a desire to support the people of L.A. and also recognize that in 2028, we've got the Olympics coming to Southern California. We have an opportunity of a lifetime in the next 3 years to do something extraordinary. And I will say this is true, and it's factual, and you got to call balls and strikes. Lee Zeldin is doing an amazing job. He's on the ground today in Los Angeles. They are moving the first phase of the debris removal at record pace. And I think it's that mindset that we brought to the meeting and the mindset that came out of that meeting. The president wants to do something that's never been done, and that is address this crisis with a degree of sophistication and focus to get the job done and get people's lives back.
Your relationship with Trump certainly has been interesting over the years. It seems to have taken a more positive turn lately. I mean, he recently called you Newsom.
And not just recently. He's been doing that for years.
Did he say it in the Oval Office yesterday?
Yeah, we had some fun with that. Look.
Okay. So tell us about this. How much of your positive turn, I have to ask this because this is what people are wondering, has to do with the fact you need aid for your state?